to get this set up right quick. I think I'm good. I think I got myself. I have to first start off with a bit of disclaimer. A lot of what I'm going to say today comes from a motivational speaker named Jim Rohn. Has anybody heard of Jim Rohn? I was just hoping somebody in the audience has heard of him. I actually always have to just energize myself. I think this is a very special moment, specifically for me. I tossed and turned while I was sleeping last night. I was very nervous. I told my colleagues that I was nervous. I was walking around with a hood on, and all the Penn State staff was like, "Boy, what you doing wearing that hood and glasses?" I was trying to conceal my anxiety, right? Because this platform is special to me. It might not mean the same thing to you, but this platform, for the past 4 years, I've sat right there and watched some amazing speakers. And I'm not just talking about people who just make you feel good. I'm talking about people who have accomplished so many things. Great people. One of those people is sitting right here right now. We heard all the way from Washington to leading the Millennium Scholars Program, Dr. Freeman. I was just mesmerized by the words expressed last year. And I've heard people on this platform go off and give talks on platforms such as the annual Biomedical Research Conference for minority students. I mean, that's like 3,200 people gathered. We're going there this year in Anaheim, California. So I know this is a really, really big deal. And little old me, I mean, I'm really nothing special. I'm just a program coordinator, right? I'm not a director of anything. I'm not like a chancellor somewhere, right? I'm just a small person. I'm just trying to be a better version of myself. I'm still growing. In fact, I'm actually not much different from you all. I know you all are looking at me like, man, you're an old man. But I'm still trying to grow. I still doubt myself. I still am trying to work on all the things that I'm weak on. I'm trying to be a better public speaker. I'm trying to be a better writer, right? And so I really have to thank Dr. Thomas Freeman for giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform. I have to thank all the staff at the MyHop program for actually allowing me to be here. I mean, you all know I've been here for 4 years, and when I first started this job, you all took me under your wing, and you were like, it's going to be all right, you'll figure it out. So I would not be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for you all. The Penn State staff, amazing. Georgianne, I mean, I love you because you're from North Carolina, so you don't even need to say much. You know, we know the same people. We go way back. Your best friend and I, we went to high school together, so this is just a small world. So I thank you so much for that opportunity. So let me start off by saying, where should I start off? Oh, I've done stand-up comedy. Straight up, I've done stand-up comedy. Crazy story. I was at like a club. Right? There was not that many people there. And it was one of those off nights. I was at the club on a Tuesday. No, I was. That's where I was. I was in graduate school too, so you can have fun and get your study on at the same time. So I was at the club. And on off nights, clubs are trying to figure out ways to entertain their guests when it's not like a Thursday, Saturday, or Friday, right? So on this night, they had comedy night. Right, so I'm there with my friends. We're watching the comics come up and bomb. I mean, they're terrible. And I'm sitting there talking trash. These guys are terrible. You know, I can do that. Anybody can do what they're doing. And my friends at the table are like, yo, you don't realize how hard it is to do what they're doing. I bet you can't do it. I'm like, please. They better not give me the microphone, man. I'll tear this place up. Anyway, the night's going on. And one of my friends disappears for a while. I don't really think nothing of it. I'm just like, have y'all seen Ben? Anybody seen Ben? No, we ain't seen him. He goes to the bathroom. I ain't went to the bathroom. He comes back, kind of smiling. The kind of smile that you look, and if you see somebody having it, you start to get suspicious. Like, what you hide? What have you done? Right, so he's smiling. And he sits down, and the next thing you know, the MC jumps up on the stage. You know, MC's got a little bounce to him. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope you are enjoying your night. Slight change in the program. Now, next up on stage, we have a first timer grabbing the mic, Richard Watkins. Give him a round of applause. There's like 3 people there, so they're like, And so I get up on the stage and I literally just, I don't know, I tell jokes about people on their cell phones and stuff like that. But people laugh. I mean, I got a couple of laughs. But you never know what's going to happen to you, right? You never know when you're going to get an opportunity to do something you've never done before. So I've done stand-up comedy, right? I heard some people in the audience saying they started their own business. Who are the people that started their own business? Right now. Yo, much praise to you. I started my own business when I was in graduate school. Y'all have a head start on me. I'm the CEO and founder of the Science Policy Action Network in North Carolina, where we focus on state-level science policy initiatives. It's super cool. I don't know what I'm doing, right? But one really cool thing that we were able to do was we were able to serve on the kind of transition team for the new governor of North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper. And I was able to go to the governor's mansion to like his first like executive meeting after being elected, and it was super exciting. You know, I was super early, like the meeting started at like 8, I was there like 6:45, because I've never done anything like that. I've never been to the governor's mansion. So like I get to the gate, it's a huge gate in downtown Raleigh. People from Raleigh know what I'm talking about, right? I ring the doorbell, I'm like, ding. I'm like, yo, I'm here for a meeting with the governor. And they're like, what meeting? I was like, the meeting at 8. Sir, it's 6:45. Well, I just gotta be early. Better early than late. So I sit there for a while, and finally, the security guard lets me in. I mean, it's a long time, 6:45, that's a long time. I just sit and think about what I'm about to do. Right? And so they finally let me in. It's so early that all the grounds crew are still out there maintaining the lawns. I mean, they're hunched over, it's hot, they're sweating, they're making everything look beautiful. The flowers, the lawn, that's a lawnmower, this is sure. And it was great. And when I walked in, the strangest thing happened. There were about 5 people out there, all black men, right? Carrying the lawn. I walked in, they all stopped what they were doing, looked at me, and kind of like tilt their head like, I see you, bro. I see what you're doing. That was an incredible experience for me because it was like, it feels like they've never really seen something like this before. Turns out that every last one of those people maintaining the grounds were all inmates. So from their perspective, to them, I guess, I represented something that they didn't know could happen, or opportunities that they didn't have when they were coming up. Incredible opportunity. So those are some good things, right? I've also had some tragedies in my life, right? Tragedies will happen. Triumphs will happen, of course, but tragedies also. 3 years ago, I'll never forget it. It's seared into my mind. I saw my mother take her last breath. It was an incredible experience, one of the most heartbreaking things that I've ever experienced, the most heartbreaking thing. We were there that night, and I just looked over to her. This was the first night that both my sister and I had spent the night after she had been moved to hospice care. And it almost felt like, now that her complete family was around her, she was like, my job is done. That's just what it felt like to us. And I saw her take her last breath. I kissed her on the forehead. I said I loved her. And that was that. Tragedies happen. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks, I saw my daughter take her first breath. What kind of transition? Perspective is what it provided me, I suppose, to see the person who brought you into the world take her last breath, and to see the next generation take their first breath within 2 weeks. Life is crazy. Life is crazy. So I told you, I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. I didn't tell you I was born in Texas. Tyler, Texas. I don't know if you ever heard of this place. I think I heard somebody say Texas in here. Right, Texas. Tyler. Have you ever heard of Tyler, Texas? Oh, you have? Hey, Texas is a mighty big state, you know, right? I think it's about, I haven't been there in a while, it's about like an hour outside of Dallas or something like that. Yeah. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Relax. I don't even watch NFL anymore. Don't worry about it. And then from there, as you know the story, I went to North Carolina where the barbecue is better. And, and I was there from second grade. It was really, really cool. In high school, I played football, varsity football player. I ran track. Then I went to Fayetteville State, and I was able to play football in college. The irony of the story is I didn't get an athletic scholarship. I had a full ride academic scholarship, and I was recruited to play football. This is the irony. So now I sit here as a program coordinator of the Chancellor Science Scholars Program. But when I went to Fayetteville State, I was a Chancellor Scholar. Somebody look at their neighbor and say, that's crazy. Look at somebody else and say, that's crazy. Somebody's saying more than that's crazy. All right. It does make sense. I'm just messing with y'all. After Fayetteville State, as you know the story I told, I went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, right, where I got a PhD in microbiology and immunology. I ended up teaching microbiology and immunology, and I had never even taken microbiology and immunology. That was crazy. It's crazy, I taught it, I never took it. I came in with Dr. Noel Ramiro. We were part of the same cohort of the Initiative for Maximizing Student Diversity. She's super dope, amazing. I actually met Dr. Freeman around the same time. I was a bum, right? Dr. Freeman was always amazing. And this is the story, this is how we first met. I was at the lunchroom, right? And I got a bunch of food. And I got to the front and I couldn't pay for my food. Because when I got there, they said, oh, we no longer take cards. And all of a sudden, this hand just came out of nowhere with just like a fistful of cash and was like, I got you. So that's how I met Dr. Freeman. Dr. Freeman, that's true? That's true?
That's about true.
It wasn't a fist, he just folded it. Balled out. So I've known both Dr. Ramiro and Dr. Freeman for over 10 years, and it's crazy because now we work together, right? Well, I say all of this because I really wasn't trying to get up here and talk about myself. I actually want to spend the rest of the time talking about you. To tell you that everything that I've ever experienced, now this is something I want you to really pay attention to. Right? Everything that I've ever experienced in life, from the moment I was born to now, has led me to standing before you right now. Actually, it's deeper than that. Because all the things that have ever happened in all of the universe, in all of human history, has allowed me to be where I'm at right now. I told you I was feeling grateful because I was at that museum, right? I represent people who survived the Middle Passage, right? Who survived the Civil War, right? I represent that. I'm standing before you right now, ironically, as a PhD, right? Which is a step above the master's. Ironically, at a time, I'm like a descendant from people who were beneath masters. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't feel me. Y'all don't feel me. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's why it's crazy that I'm standing here right now. And all my physics people in here know that we're all descendants from stars, right? Everything that ever happened since the Big Bang or Genesis, whatever you believe in, came together to put me right here, right now. See, we're messing with cosmic forces, right? Universal powers. Y'all don't get this. So listen very, very carefully. Because I've been sitting here for a reason. Y'all been sitting here for a reason, right? Y'all didn't control whether or not your parents met and created you, right? Everything's out of your control, so this is happening for a reason. is happening. It's a little word that you might have heard of, right? Right? I'm looking at you because you fall asleep. That's what I do, right? Called destiny. Destiny. That's what we're here to talk about. Destiny. You're like, oh, I can't believe you called that out. I'll call out anybody falling asleep. I ain't saying y'all. Listen, we're here to talk about destiny. But if we are to talk about destiny, then we got to talk about thought. Because it all starts with thought. And if we're going to talk about thought, then we got to talk about the diseases of attitude. I know. It's not always fun to talk about the negative. But we got to talk about it. We got to. Because life is part negative. Right? Life is part negative. We got to deal with it. My opinion. Now, I know there's some people out there that teach the other way. Don't let negativity into your life. Always be positive. And listen to them. Listen to them. And listen to me too. And then make up your own mind. Right? Don't be followers. Be scholars. Right? Make up your own mind. But in my opinion, you got to deal with these things. You've got to deal with the negative. You don't have to dwell in it, right? But you do have to deal with it. My opinion, right? I know there's some people, like I said, that turns their backs and say there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. But these negative things are like weeds that grow in the garden. If you ignore them too long, the weeds will take all your garden. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. So what it is in part, right? What it is in part is what I call the great war between good and evil. Now there is a war going on. There is a war. From the moment you were born, you got involved in the war. Between good and evil, between light and dark, between negative and positive, between ease and enterprise, between democracy and tyranny. There's a war going on. Listen. In the absence of democracy, what happens? What happens? Anarchy. Tyranny. In the absence. In the absence of light, what is there? Darkness, right? If good doesn't arouse itself and become active, what's there waiting? Evil. Bad. Come on, man. I appreciate the participation. I missed your high five right there, but that's all right. You know you get half the high five? That's what that was. I'm like walking up the stairs because I feel like I'm just giving the front so much love. I'm just like trying to jump through it. I'm not trying to bother anybody that's sleeping, just miss the whole lesson. But yeah, that's what, nobody's asleep. I was just making a comment. I feel you. It is a war. It's a physical war. It's an emotional war. It's a financial war, right? Between good and evil, success and failure, ease and enterprise. That's why the best advice I have to give you is from an old saying. Old saying. It goes like this. 6 days labor, 1 day rest. You got to make sure you win in the war. If you rest too long, you're going to risk losing everything. So 6 day labor, 1 day rest. And I know what you're thinking. That means don't work all 7 days. Take 1 day off. But here's what it also means. Only take 1 day off. Only take 1 day off. You gotta make sure you're winning the war. Now we've got it down to 5 and 2. Maybe that's not so bad. You know what the average years left after retirement are? Average years. Anybody know? 25? 15? 6. 6. Which means don't retire. Your chances are too slim. Don't retire. Your chances are too slim. All right. Attitudes. Diseases. Diseases of attitudes. Yes. Yeah, let's talk about that. But before I get there, I have to say one word that destroys everything. One word that destroys everything. There's a word called neglect. Neglect. And let me warn you, my Penn State people, shout out to my Penn State people with pen and pad taking notes. All right? Shout out to y'all. I'm sorry, I give credit where credit's due. Yeah, Penn State people taking notes. Y'all taking notes, write this down. All right? Neglect. A week of neglect may cost you over a year in repair. Right? It isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. A week of neglect can cost you over a year in repair. Always stay on your grind. I'll take some time. Let y'all get your stuff up. And, for my Chancellor Science Scholars, which I'll give an opportunity to go back on social media, I know where that video will be. I know y'all know. All right, so let's make a list. Let's make a list. Y'all can make lists. Y'all can make a list. Y'all don't have to put down everything I say. It's just what I believe. It's my philosophy. You develop your own philosophy as you go through this life. This is the philosophy that I've had so far through the people that I've listened to and through the experiences that I've had. The first thing, attitude disease. Indifference. Indifference. Right? The guy's not even concerned. He's not even concerned. He's just drifting. He's just drifting. The guy says, I can't see getting all that worked up. Really? Really? You can't see getting that worked up? Right? Can't see getting all that worked up? Well, listen, to be any kind of winner, you got to get worked up. See, there's one thing about drift. I'm going to tell you, there's one thing about drift. You can't drift to the top of the mountain. Where are my volcano climbers? Right? There wasn't a breeze that just carried you to the top. You can't drift to the top of the mountain. Right? That's one thing about it. You got to get worked up. Things are serious. Somebody asked me, hey, Dr. Watkins, I talk to people a lot. I talk a lot. Dr. Watkins, I said, what? He was like, what's the number one thing you look for in somebody you like to work with? Right? Somebody you like to work with. Somebody you like to be around. What's the number one thing? I said, number one thing. Ready? Strong feelings. Strong feelings. Please give me somebody that feels strong. About most anything, I don't even really care. Just so long as you believe it. Right? You don't even have to agree with me. You can disagree with every word that I say just as long as you disagree vigorously. Right? I'm not saying that it's easy to win those type of people over to your side. But I'd rather do that than have to resurrect somebody from the dead. Every day I gotta pump them up. Every month they're like dragging, and I have to like, good, come on, be a cheerleader. Right? I pass. I'm gonna give y'all a story. I bore y'all stories all the time. I'm sorry. The good Lord is looking for a leader for the early Christians. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a theology major, right? So if I get stuff wrong, just forgive me. I'm not perfect. Looking for a leader for the early Christians. Not like today. Back in those days, if you stood up and be like, I'm a Christian. Back in those days, you stand up and be like, I'm a Christian. They cut off your head. Throw you and your family into jail. Let you rot. That's what they did. Back in those days, saying you were a Christian wasn't called socially acceptable. I don't know why I made that voice. They didn't have over 100,000 people piling in to the Los Angeles Coliseum to hear a sermon on Sunday morning. If y'all know about history, now back in those days, the word was if you were a Christian, stay out of the Coliseum. Especially on Sundays. I heard they feeding Christians to lions on Sundays in the Coliseum. Last Sunday, it was Lions 33, Christians nothing. No, we laugh because we know the Lions ain't putting no points up on nobody. I mean, those were mean, tough struggle days for the early Christians. Now, all right. Back serious. When the days are mean, tough, and struggling, you got to have a leader. Now, I'm going to stop right here and just say this. All right, all the people got notes out. Here's another. Not everybody in a leadership position is a leader. And you don't have to have a leadership position to be a leader. All right, now back to the story. You know who the good Lord picked as a leader for the Christians back in those days? Saul from Tarsus. I tell you what, I would have picked him. You would have picked him. Anybody would have picked Saul. Saul was one of those guys, once he got involved with something, look out. Everybody in the community knew what Saul was about. Because when Saul got involved with something, you turn up all the switches, open up all the valves, cut on all the faucets, and run like mad. I mean, he was known as all-out Saul. He was something else. Now, at first there was a problem. Saul hated Christians, which makes for a poor leader, I guess. Right? I mean, I don't know what it was, but he got it about him someday that I just hate Christians. It was so bad that if somebody were to mention the word Christian around Saul, he would fly into a rage. And one day, he said it was his mission in life to get rid of all the Christians. He was Saul anyway. He could do almost anything he wanted. So he got himself these letters of authority, right, to go to all the various communities and hunt down all the Christians. They said, do what you want with them, Saul. They're unpopular anyhow. Drag them into the street. Kick them. Stone them. Torture them. Kill them. Listen, you can go. I'm not well traveled, but those are travelers out here. You can go into the catacombs in Rome where they hid. I mean, he was mean. Terribly mean. One day, Saul heard about some new Christians out in Damascus. So he makes his way to Damascus. I mean, he was pissed. He flied into a rage. There's this little sentence that says, on his way to Damascus, he was breathing threatenings and slaughter, which I guess made him feel kind of strong about the idea, I guess. But all of a sudden, on his way to Damascus, according to the story, the good Lord looked down from heaven and said, Saul, there's my man. You've got to be something else. And according to the story, a beam of light came out of heaven, struck Saul, knocked him from his horse, ground his face into the gravel, and blinded him for 3 days. I mean, the Lord's using recruiting tactics that you don't have, Aunt Taylor. I mean, when you're Lord, don't feel bad. If you could, you would probably. When he awoke and got his vision back, he was converted into Christianity. Right? He became Paul, the great leader, the apostle. And without a doubt, the Lord got a dandy. Somebody that he didn't have to pump up every month to get going. Right? And so I guess one thing that you can take from that is the best way to be is one way or the other. One way or the other. Hot's good. What's next best to hot? Cold. Not the half-baked middle. Not too hot, not too cold. What a sad way to live. Which I guess means pick one direction and go at it with everything you got. Go at it with everything you got. Texas, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. What if I'm going in the wrong way? What if I'm going the wrong way? You'll find out quicker. If you go at it with everything you got, you'll find out quicker. Right? You won't take 25 years to say, oh no, I think I've been going down the wrong road. Right? Here's another thing. Learn to put everything you got into everything you do. Otto, ain't that right? No matter what you're doing, put everything you got into everything you do. Put everything you got into everything you do. Don't give somebody anything less than your best. Anything less than your best, right? All right. The next disease. What did I just do? Indifference? That was a long indifference. Next thing. Worry. Worry causes health problems, social problems, family problems. Listen, you can worry too much that it may drop you down to your knees and reduce you to begging. Somebody look at somebody else and say, I ain't worried about nothing. What's that, French Montana? So the best advice that I have for you is to give it up. Just to give it up. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. All I'm saying is that it's worth it. That's all I'm saying. And you can find that you can live the most incredible life free of worry. Not free of challenges, not free of difficulty, free of worry. You can give it up. I gave it up. I used to be a super worrier. I used to worry all the time. Not a warrior. A warrior. Feels like I'm saying the same thing, right? My family wishes I was a warrior. No, I was a warrior. Am I saying it right? Say it. Say warrior.
Warrior.
Did I say the warrior?
Warrior.
My mouth doesn't work.
Warrior. Emphasis on the A.
This is what you call audience participation. All right, next thing. And my students have heard me say this. Next thing, doubt. First day of summer accelerator, y'all remember me saying doubt? No, I'm going to say the same thing. Doubt. Right? Doubt. There's a lot of things you can doubt. A lot of them. You know what the worst thing you can doubt is? Yourself. There we go. Yourself, that's the worst thing you can doubt. What is it? A chronic, excellent self-doubting. Right? Some people every day wake up and they get better and better at doubting themselves. Right? As they dream and they aspire, that's when the doubt settles in, right? When you're like, I'm going to do something great. As soon as you admit that to yourself, you start doubting yourself. Oh, I'll tell you what's even worse, right? I'll tell you when doubt really sets in. when you tell somebody you love and respect your dreams, and they don't automatically support you, they kind of like, right? Has anybody ever had that happen to them? Everybody, right? Yeah, you start doubting yourself. You start doubting whether or not you can do all that. You start doubting whether or not you can make that much, right? You start doubting yourself. Let me tell you a secret. Let me tell you what you can do. Let me tell you what you can do with doubt. So, look at somebody and say, I want him to tell me what I can do with doubt. All right. I will tell you. Jeez, I'll tell you. Listen, this is what you can do with doubt. Y'all all know this, so just don't even say that. All right? You can turn that coin upside down and become a what?
Warrior.
It's so funny because I looked at my people and I'm like, oh, what? And they were like, I don't remember. Now, that was good. I like that. Worry. Actually, thank you. I thought you lost your voice. You found it, didn't you? You found it, didn't you? Well, listen, you got that doubt coin. You can flip it over and you can become a believer. You were close. I think you believed in your voice. You were like, I can do this. You can become a believer. Now, here's the thing about belief. The understanding of self-worth is the beginning of progress. What did I just say? What did I say? Ooh, that sounded good. That's where it is. Don't doubt yourself. Be a believer. All right. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Oh, yes. Now I know it. Overcaution. How long have I been going? You looked at your watch? I've been going too long.
Take your time.
Okay. All right, let's try to pull it. Oh, where are we at? Oh, here's the next thing. Overcaution. Some people will never have too much. Why? Because they're too cautious. My caution was always a risk. Risk used to drive me right up the wall. You know what I used to say? New York? All right. Yeah. You know what I used to always say? I would say this. What if this happened? Or if this happened? Oh, good gracious. Look at the fix I'd be in. I better not try. But then, you know when everything changed? Do you know when everything changed for me? You probably don't. You like the intuitive, so that's why I asked you. When I found out that it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. Right? Listen, if you think investing is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not investing. You think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. See, it's all risky. Starting your business is risky. Getting married, wherever. Getting married is risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. It's all risky. Life is risky. Listen, you want me to tell you how risky life is?
Yes, please do.
Listen very closely. You're not going to get out alive. That's risky. I'm just getting everybody's top five. That's risky. You're not going to get out alive. You know what the lady says? Well, if that's where it's going to be, how about I just give it a go? That's what it's for. Give it a go. Right? Now the guy says, no, but I'm looking for safety and security. The girl says, well, fine, go huddle in the corner. Right? We'll feed you 3 meals a day. We'll cover you with a blanket. We will care for you, worry about you. We will make sure nothing happens to you, and you'll probably live to be 100. The girl says, yeah, I'd love to be 100, but what a way to live. Right. What a way to live. Don't ask for security. Ask for adventure. Ask for adventure, right? Right? Because the real thing is, not how long you live. Not how long you live. But how you live. The type of life you live. Don't ask for security, ask for adventure. Next thing. Pessimism. Anybody heard of pessimism?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you about the pessimism. The pessimist lives an ugly life. Let me tell you about the pessimist, right? The pessimist doesn't try to find what's right. The pessimist tries to find out what's wrong. That's the pessimist. The pessimist doesn't look for virtue. The pessimist looks for fault. And when he finds it, he's delighted. How ugly. How ugly. This is the pessimist. This is the pessimist right here. Looks out the window, doesn't see the setting or rising sun. No, the pessimist sees the specks on the window. That's the pessimist, right? The pessimist is the type of person that'll run up to you. I'll tell you 5 good reasons why it won't work. They're so dumb. They don't understand. All they need is 1. He coming up with 5. The pessimist. Now let me tell you about the optimist. The optimist looks at the glass half full. Y'all heard that, right?
Yes.
How's the pessimist look at the glass? Why does the same measure affect people 2 different ways? Why?
Perspective.
What's your name?
Dewan Morley.
Say what it says.
Dewan Morley perspective.
Dewan Morley perspective, right. It all depends on how you look at it. All right, here's another one. Here's another gem right here. Right? Our lives are most affected by how we think things are. Not the way they are. How we think things are affects us most. Which brings me to another old saying. Old saying. This is going to be old. As you think, so you become. As you think, so you become. How awesome. Somebody tells me, I want to be a leader. I say, okay. I follow them to their house. Not really. Just for the sake of this discussion. I follow them to their house. The first thing that I do, I check their library. Not just their library, because I know in the age of technology, not everybody has books, right? I check their playlists. I check their YouTube history. I check their internet search history. Because that'll tell me exactly what kind of leader they'll be. What you read and what you listen to pour massive amounts of volume into who you'll be. It controls everything. I want to know why somebody acts the way they act. I don't have to do anything further than to read what they're reading. Or to listen to what they're listening to. Right? Because it controls how they're thinking. Right? I see a failure. I see the book they're reading. I tell myself, I'm not going to read that. Right? It pours massive amounts. It's like I was talking to some kids the other day. Right? I talk to kids like at church, like old people, they see me and they're like, yo, come talk to my kid. Tell them how to be successful. I'm like, I'm still trying to figure it out. They tell them to be successful. They're like, listen, tell me the secret to success. Tell me the secret to the good life. Right? I say, it's simple. It's simple. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's simple. Right? It's simple. It's simple. Put in the right ingredients, keep out the wrong ingredients, and it all starts with thought. Right? try to have a great, amazing life by putting in a bunch of worthless material, a bunch of trash. You're better off trying to make a cake with cement. So I asked the kids, what happens if someone put rat poison in my coffee? That's exactly what they said. They said, you'll die. I said, right. What would happen if somebody put sugar in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be all right. Right. Lesson number 1. Life is both sugar and rat poison. You've got to be careful. I asked the kids next. What if my worst enemy ran up to my coffee? My worst enemy ran up to my coffee and dropped in some sugar. They said, well, you'd be all right. You'd be all right. All right. What if my best friend or my family member, even by accident, dropped some rat poison into my coffee? They said, you'd be dead. I said, right. Lesson number 2. Watch your coffee. Watch your coffee. See, it doesn't matter who gives you the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your life. Stay guard at the doors of your mind. You control what goes in there. Next thing, last thing, I promise, I've been up here for too long, I'm starting to sweat. Like my lip, I feel it sweating on my lip. That's how I know I've been doing this my 4 years. And now I know I need to sit down. All right, next thing. It's the last thing, but it's the most important. It's the most deadly, and it's the most dangerous. Listen very, very carefully. Indulge in this even a little bit, and you can cancel your future. Yeah, it's that serious. It's that serious. Complaining. What? Complaining. Whining. Crying. A Bible word called murmuring. Oh, that'll ace your future. Complain for 5 minutes. This is simple math. Complain for 5 minutes, and you have wasted 5 minutes. I'm not a mathematician. I think it works out. Complain for 5 minutes, and you will have wasted 5 minutes. And pretty soon, you will begin to progress in something that's known as professional cancer of the bone. Pretty soon, they will haul you out into a professional desert and let you choke on the dust of your own regret. It's a deadly disease. I hope I said that right. Don't believe me. This is my last theological thing. Ask the children of Israel, Old Testament faith. True of us all, theirs just happened to get in the book. Right? Story goes, the children of Israel were slaves. Y'all heard the story. Children of Israel were slaves. God performed a series of dazzling miracles in freedom. Right? Y'all know the story. Headed towards the promised land. Moral of the story, end of the story, they never got there. From day 1, they started to complain. They complained about the weather. They complained about the food. They complained about the leadership. It's too far. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too difficult. Finally, God said, that's it. Trip canceled. Or something like that. The children of Israel never made it to the promised land. Which means 2 things. Indulge in complaining too long, you can get your future canceled. And I guess it means second thing, Even God himself can only take but so much complaining. Second. Right? So now we have our list of diseases of attitude. Right? We have our list. You got to make sure you're winning the war. Everything is serious. You got to make sure your dreams happen. Right? You got to make sure you're winning the war. And it all starts with thought. It all starts with thought. Because your thoughts become your words. And your words become your actions. But I love it. I love it. I love it. Thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. All right. A whole story is about destiny. And it all starts with thought. Now that can help. Thoughts, they become your words. And you have to be mindful of your words because your words become your actions. And you got to be mindful of your actions because your actions become your habits. You got to be mindful of your habits because your habits become your character. And you got to be mindful of your character because your character becomes your destiny. And there concludes my talk on destiny.